Alright, welcome race fans once again to MaxSpeedTV. This is the second time we've been here. We have lots of races, of course, always going here on MaxSpeedTV. So first off, thanks everybody for tuning in here tonight. If you are here watching this race, a big shout out to you for coming in here tonight. We have a special race for you. This is the RaceCore Online Racing League presented by Global Building Contractors. Again, before we get into all of the racing details, as always, we have a lot of great stuff to come your way. First off, to name all the partners that make this race possible, starting with MaxSpeedTV, and of course, in this race as well, Walls Beard Co. For all you guys out there that have a beard and you need to make it look that much better out there, just check them out at wallsbeardco.com. Lots of great products. Beard Balm, they have it out there, all organic and natural products. SimSpeedShop.com, you can also check them out at just SimSpeedShop on Facebook. They have some great button boxes and e-brakes for you rallycross racers out there. If you want to improve your iRacing career, they are a must. Elite 7 Racing, they are the official dirt team of MaxSpeedTV, so make sure you go to their page on Facebook and give them a like, and check out their brand new website, elite7racing.com. Ohio IndyCar League, they came on not long ago. They are one of our newer sponsors. They are a great Ohio or IndyCar League. They used to be Ohio club members only. They are now open to everyone, so you can check them out on iRacing to get joined in there, or you can check out all their information on racing at facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League. And last but not least, on the broadcasting side of things, iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphics source. All of the stuff you see here, or at least most of it anyway, some of it has been done in-house, but most of it, all the animations have been done by Jason Allison over at ibog.co. So make sure if you're looking to get into broadcasting or just want some overlays for streaming, make sure you check him out over at ibog.co. And that'll do it for the sponsors here on MaxSpeedTV. There are two main sponsors here for the racing, one of those being iRacing Drivers World. Make sure you check these guys out. Great Facebook page there for all your iRacing needs. Over 7,000 members. It is a huge group. If you have a question or a concern, whatever it is about iRacing, you can ask it over there, and probably somebody, if not hundreds of people, will answer it for you. And of course, the one footing the bill for this broadcast and all the broadcasts here on MaxSpeedTV for RaceCore Online Racing League is Global Building Contractors. Make sure you give a huge shout out to these guys. Again, they're the ones that are paving the way for all of this to happen, so you need to go give them a big shout out and thank them for what they do. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here bringing you the great racing coverage that you're gonna see tonight. So definitely giving them a shout out. That being said, we do want to, of course, introduce our second chair here tonight. He has been here before, and he will probably be here plenty more times for that matter. So that is Jeff Stabnow. So, Jeff, welcome to the booth once again.
Hey, thanks. As always there, Charles. Really enjoy being here for this RaceCore League. These guys are some fantastic racers, and tonight we've got some nighttime racing at Charlotte, which is always some great racing. Charlotte's just one of those tracks, tons of grip here. We should see some good two-wide, three-wide racing. I think we're in for a heck of a show, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and they just actually finished up their second pit party there, as we currently have, last count, 34 drivers in this race. So it is a huge field, and with a track like this, 34 drivers would be awesome to see, like a Talladega race, because you're going to see a lot of pack racing. But these guys are not separated by much time here. So this is going to be very interesting to see these guys here at Charlotte. It's a mile and a half. It's not, it doesn't seem like a mile and a half track really, because there's usually a lot of great racing here.
Yeah, Charlotte is, it's a mile and a half. It's a quad oval. the version we've got here in iRacing was after a recent pave, so we've got really a really smooth surface, lots of grip. It doesn't just eat the tires away like some of these other tracks there. So you can run multiple grooves. There's definitely an inside line. There's an outside line. We should see the grooves move as the track gets warm. With this many cars, we're going to see some fantastic side-by-side action tonight.
Yeah, definitely will. Overcast night here tonight. 2-mile-an-hour wind out of the north. So the track temperature is 78 degrees. So is the air temperature. So, a fairly nice night. Only 78 degrees. That is perfect for racing. Not too hot, not too cold. 90 laps is how many laps we're doing around here. 135 miles. And I believe pit road, I believe it's 50 miles an hour if I did my homework correct on that. And you did a little scouting for us here on the fuel window and the tire window. According to your estimates, fuel window, about 28 to 30 laps, depending on if they want a short pit or not. Again, you don't have to worry about drafting here. So you can pit whenever you want, really. You don't have to worry about catching a draft or losing a draft and possibly that being a factor into it. As far as tires, you said around 5 to 10. Not that they couldn't go further than that, but that's going to be about when we see some wear off or some fall off in their speeds.
Yeah. So a lot to catch up on there that you said. Pit road speed limit definitely is 50 miles an hour. We've got pace car. We're pacing at 65 miles an hour. The track temperature should be big for some extreme grip here tonight, or some great grip. Watching these guys drive, we saw a couple guys do some 30-lap runs and then pit. So I would assume that we've got a pit window of about 30 laps. Tires. These guys can go. They can really lay down about 2 laps all the way wide open, into the 29s, and then they start falling off pretty quick. I'd say about 5 to 6 laps in, they're off about a half second to 3/4 of a second already. If they're just hammering down trying to get around that track. We saw a couple guys earlier that were taking it easy those first couple laps. They didn't have as much fall off, so tire management will be key here. The next 25 laps or so, we only saw probably about another second of fall off. So the big initial fall off was in about that first 6 laps or so. And, to these guys, it's going to feel slow. They're going to get, anything 10 laps in, 7 laps in, 8 laps in. They're going to feel like they need new tires. But we have seen these tires, they're hanging in there. They're getting around. They're doing the full run on these things. Biggest thing here is getting heat in those tires. These tires will heat up. There's so much grip here in this track. And when that does happen, when the tires get too hot here, you'll see them kind of get this loose and tight condition together. It can get a little slippery in a quad oval, which looks like a straightaway and you'd think would be good, but just a little bit of steering wheel can get a guy sliding right there in the quad oval, and we'll probably see a few incidents or close to incidents happen there right before the start-finish line. Getting into one, the track has a little bit of an attitude change. You come in, you go down a little bit of a hill. You can get these cars loose. You can get a little air into there, lift that rear end up. So if you're trying to turn, if you get in a little high there and try to turn down the track a little bit too much, it'll send that rear end around on you. And then coming out of 3 and 4, once you start getting some heat in these tires and things start warming up, you'll get a little bit of a push coming off that corner. And it's real easy to get just a little bit too much wheel into that and then have that banking disappear on you and go around there too. So plenty of places these guys can get in trouble. Lots to pay attention to tonight.
That indeed, as I was actually going to mention that about turn 1, just from my own personal experience, and really anybody, and I mean anybody that comes onto iRacing, that if we're looking at the I ratings of these people here and the safety ratings, everyone in here is an A class or a B class. So there is nobody in here that's not, that's still a rookie or anything like that. So anybody that's ever come in iRacing has been on this track. They come in here. This is where you start out with street stocks. And even with the street stocks, turn 1 has a serious, as you said, attitude problem. And if you get in it wrong, it will set that car and it will spin the rear end around, and good luck hanging on to it. I don't know what it is about that corner, but it definitely, like you said, has a major attitude issue. And it is probably, in my opinion, with the exception of, like you said, right there in the quad oval, that whole section, probably from right before the start-finish line to halfway through turn 1, is probably going to be where we're going to see most of the accidents happen here tonight. I think we'll see some other places, but I really think in that area is where most of the stuff's going to happen.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And as these tires start to wear and they're starting to lose a little bit of grip, the more wheel they have to put into it, the more susceptible they are. That's where you really got to start being careful. And that is the area. We've got just a little bit of verticality going on there. And it's enough to get you. It'll just, we learned that in the street stocks, like you said, but as you level up in iRacing, all the way through these series, the problems don't go away. The cars just get faster. And those problem spots just become more difficult to negotiate.
They do indeed. You start with the street stocks, like you said. You have those street stocks are not fast, not here at Charlotte. So you have a lot of time to react. So it's a good learning thing. But like you said, they don't go away. You just have less time to react to them. The higher you get up into iRating and into your safety classes and stuff. And these guys here are doing 29-second laps. You'd think it's 29 seconds a lap around this track. So about a half a minute. So imagine from that start-finish line to halfway through turn 1's probably about 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds total from that point in the thing. So imagine spinning, you're going to have about a second to try to save it. So, you don't have much time. And what's going to make it even harder is the fact that there's 33 other drivers out here. So, if they get loose or spin it early in this race when they're still bunched together, you're not only going to see one car wreck, there's a real good chance, probably about 80% chance, that we're going to see at least a 5 to 6 car pileup in turn 1.
And then let's not forget, these guys don't have a fast repair. So if we've got somebody up towards the front of the pack that has an early race issue they're getting in turn 1, which is, like we've said, that's if you're running that high line and trying to drive it down to that low line or just get a little too much, it's pretty easy to do. But if you get somebody up front there that loses control and takes out 7 or 8, 9, 10 cars going back when we're running 2, 3 wide getting into that, because the quad oval, I think you can get 4 or 5 wide on there if you really want to be aggressive there. And so they'll be stacking up behind. We could have a lot of the field. We could have a lot of cars pick up some significant damage there.
Yeah, and to also note about that quad oval, for anyone that's not familiar with it, excuse me, I lose my voice there a little. You'll see, and a lot of people do this. They've done it since day one with street stocks, and they'll do it just about in any car coming into the quad oval. As you come in there, a lot of people try to take that inside line and make passes there. And it can be done. You can make a pass. But what we'll see probably about 2 out of the 10 times that they try to do that is when they try to scoot back up in front of them to make that pass, you don't judge it good and you're not 100% clear, and both of you will be into that outside wall. And that could cause a problem too. Is right there, you can get a run, but make sure you have to be clear before you go back in front of the car that you're passing.
Yeah, and that's a real fair point, because it's so wide there. It's so easy to not see a car like immediately behind you. There's a lot of lines that you can kind of take coming off that corner there. That quad oval's really wide, and so you can lose a car in your field of vision and think you've got somebody cleared, or think you've got more room than you do, and maybe you veered from the line just a little bit to try to make a pass. So it's real easy to lose track of everybody around you there and cause an accident.
It is indeed, and we got 5.5 minutes, and it looks like their driver meeting is over. Everybody's piling back onto the track for some last-minute laps here. So we do want to quickly note here that because of last week's race, due to causing too many wrecks or multiple wrecks, there are going to be some people that aren't going to qualify here. Or if they do, they'll be given an EOL. I believe they aren't even allowed to qualify, period. Jonathan Ellis, James Morgan, Jared Hagerdorn, Alex Huffman, Jameer Muhammad, and Tommy Gossett. Those guys are not going to be able to qualify, and if they do, they're going to be given an EOL. But I believe the rule is they don't even qualify. That is how they get that EOL. So several drivers, because of cautions, won't be qualifying here to start this race. And, you know, when you have 10 cars on the track, that's not a big penalty. With 34 drivers, that's a pretty big penalty.
Oh, that's absolutely a huge penalty. And then, you know, I know you mentioned 6 drivers there, but I just want to talk about the last 3 there. We saw Tommy Gossett win last week. You know, we talk about Tommy Gossett a lot. We'd like to watch him come through the field. Because it seems like he seems to do that every week. We've seen Jameer Muhammad on some of these bigger tracks, 1.5-mile, 2-mile tracks, have some excellent races there. So he would be, you know, in normal circumstances, I think somebody we'd want to keep an eye on here tonight. And then we got Alex Huffman. You know, there's another guy that seems to be running up front a lot on these types of tracks.
Yeah, he is indeed. Those are all very good drivers. So, you know, like you said, to see him back there thanks to a penalty is going to be interesting to see how quickly they can move through the field. But it goes also to point out, too, like we were talking about a second ago, the good news for them is this track is all about how fast you can get around the track and how smooth and clean you can get around the track. You know, it's, you know, you put an EOL for someone at Talladega or Daytona with almost 40 cars in the field, you're kind of at the mercy of other people around you to work with you. You're not here. You're at the mercy of yourself. How fast can you get back to the front of the field? So it's a totally different ball game than like pack racing. They're all on their own here unless they have some teammates that are willing to work with them. So, you know, it's a whole dynamic changes from like a super speedway than it is here. So it's going to be this is an awesome track to run at. Anytime I get to broadcast the Charlotte race, you know, I just love it. This track is so fun to race at.
Yeah, that it is. And, you know, coming from the back to the front like these guys are going to, you know, want to try to do, we're going to have to see how patient they are. There's a little bit of everything here at Charlotte. There is some draft. If you're coming down that back stretch, you can pick up a couple miles an hour drafting behind somebody down that straight stretch. Getting into 3 and 4, it's really easy to get in there too hot. There's multiple grooves that you can run. Obviously, the fast way around early when you got a lot of grip is to pin that thing down on the bottom line. Of course, you're going to use more tire. You're going to put more heat in the tires. So how much tire are they going to use up trying to come through the field? Are they going to get into a corner too hot and slide the car and push and eat those tires up? You know, what kind of maneuvers they have to make? 35 cars. If you're at the back of this field and you're looking at all those cars you got to get by to get to the front, it's not necessarily easy to keep composed and just say you're going to methodically work through that field. So it should be, you know, I'm curious to see how this plays out.
I am definitely curious to see how it plays out, but that being said, we have 1:15 left on the clock, so we are actually going to step away here to get to your national anthem. We'll come back, qualifying will be underway, and times will be being put in shortly, so we'll see you in 1:45 here after the national anthem.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Here, qualifying is officially underway. They have 5 minutes. We're going about 4 minutes left. Nobody has officially put in a time just yet, so we're going to switch it down to the track and bring up your driver bar as well as qualifying times. Again, this should be interesting as nobody's put in times just yet. But that is about to change as we're watching right now the 29 of Jamal Poe. So this could get interesting. I don't know who's going to win here. This could be anybody's game.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as far as qualifying times with 35 cars in the field, I think it's probably pretty important. You'd like to qualify up front. You really don't want to get stuck in traffic. We saw Mikey Neal. He threw down a lap in the 29.4 range in practice. That was by far the fastest lap. And then we had about 15 other guys that were in the 29.6, 29.7 range.
We did indeed, as it looks like Bryson Barker's going to have the fastest time right now with a 29.424. Austin Edstrom is going to be behind him with a in the 29.597 time. Currently in that number 88 machine, as he's going to pull it down. And now we have the 91 of Jim Locking going to put it in the third fastest time.
Yeah, and those first two drivers, those are guys that we are used to seeing up front. They typically qualify fast, they run fast, so not a surprise to see them. We've got Brian Bizzle putting it in fourth place. Justin Starr with a nice lap, 29.680. They're putting it in fifth place. And Brandon Dorsett in sixth place with a 29.696. 48 at Jack Fellers in seventh with a 29.798. Brian Irby, another guy that we like to pay attention to, and just you know, the 33 there, he's got a 29.856, and he's been bumped down to 10th place. So still a lot of fast lap times coming in that 29.6, 29.7 range right now.
He has indeed, as Roger Muth just jumped to third with a 29.6 flat. So he's going to jump up there. Had a good run last week, so he's looking to duplicate it here again tonight, as he's putting on a fairly good time so far, third fastest, as he very well could be in the top of this field before it's all said and done.
Yeah, Jason Covington jumps in there at sixth place, and Jack Fellers and Dennis Ellis jumped up to round out the top 10 right now.
He has indeed, and looks like we may be facing some more issues here with dropping and losing focus here. So that is not good. We do not want to do that. So we have about a minute 25 here. We'll go through the official grid. And hey, give us just a minute. We are going to have to get this sorted out one way or another. So give us just a minute. We're going to step away for about 30 seconds here, and we're going to see if we can't get this fixed, and we'll be right back.
We take you down onto the track for...
All right, we are back here. There we go. Do apologize for that, but we want to make sure we get the race covered as best as possible. But we are back here. Bryson Barker taking the pole. So we're going to get to the grid. We'll have to go through it fast now. But we are ready to do that. So, Jeff, if you want to run through, say, the first 5 or 6 rows, I will finish us off here.
Yeah, sounds good. On the pole, we've got the 84 Bryson Barker, who threw down an amazing 29.423. On the outside P2, we've got the number 8 of Mikey Neal. First car inside, row 2 is the 88 of Austin Edstrom. Outside of him, the 39 of Roger Muth. We've got the 91 of Jim Locking in P5. The 15 of Brian Bizzle in P6, Jason Covington, the number 10 car in P7, Justin Starr, the 99 MaxSpeedTV car in P8, we've got Brandon Dorsett, the 5 car in P9, and we've got Jack Fellers, the 48 car in P10.
In row 6, 11th is going to be the 11 of Dennis Ellis, and in 12th is going to be the 63 of Charles Hoffman. Row 7 is going to be the 33 of Brian Irby, and the 9 of Brian Dorsey. In row 8 is going to be Len McNeese, and the 21 of Dan Butler. Row 9 is going to be the 38 of Corey Levitt, and the 72 of Ryan Wilson. Row 10 is going to be the 29 of Jamal Poe, and I'm not sure what number Gary Weaver is in 20th, but he will be starting 20th in row 10. Row 11 is going to be John Vendrillis, the 87, and the 14 of Jameer Muhammad. Row 12 is going to be Alex Huffman and Armando Ortiz. We're getting some EOLs now. Row 13, Matthew Ellis and David Gainforth. Row 14, James Morgan and Tommy Gossett. Row 15 is going to be Trevor Graffam and Jared Hagerdorn. And row 16 is going to be Jonathan Ellis and Tony Seal. And row 17, rounding out the field, is going to be Craig Covington and Patrick Pylon. Pylon, apologies for that, but the green flag is how we are racing here. 34 cars here to start the race, and everybody did start, and it's going to be a good race.
Yeah, Bryson Barker in the 84 car there jumps out to an early lead. Great restart there. We got the first 4 or 5 cars there, single file, getting out of that first set of corners and coming down the backstretch.
Definitely, and again, we do want to apologize for having to step away, but we are back in business here as Bryson Barker has a huge lead, but you go right behind him, Mikey Neal, Austin Edstrom, Roger Muth putting on a good battle, and you go way back here, as we're going to go all the way back to about 25th. These guys are really starting to shake it up back here as they're going 2 and 3 wide, and you know, it almost reminds you of a Sidewinder snake back here going back and forth. These cars are just all over the place, but that's what you got to do. You got to find where the line is good for you to get by and hope that the person in front of you is not running the exact same line.
Yeah, you know, you've got all the cars grouped up right on that restart. It's your best chance to get the most cars. So if you're trying to get some ground, you're definitely getting a little aggressive on these restarts, and then cars start fanning out. Up front, it looks like we got Justin Starr, maybe. I'm not sure. Somebody got on the wall. No, that was the 73 car, maybe?
I believe you're right. I was sitting there watching that. I saw it myself. I believe, I'm not sure who that was. I think it was Bizzle that got into it, possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, you were right. It was a black car. It may have been the 5 of Brandon Dorsett that got into the wall. But somebody back there, sparks were a-flying, so it looks like it may have been the 5 of Brandon Dorsett, but regardless of who it was, they recovered from it quite well, so nothing major done, but definitely going to have some damage to the car, but it's not slowing them down, so good job for them to keep it going. Is one I want to keep an eye on here. That is the 33 of Brian Irby. You know, he's already proven to be a winner twice in this series, and right now he's sitting right outside the top 10, so I think he may have a shot here if he can get into that top 5.
Yeah, Brian Irby, we already saw him on these intermediate tracks. We know that he's a contender on these intermediate tracks. And just an update, the 72 is one of the cars I saw getting a wall, and he lost about 9 spots. So he's back about 27th place now, and that was Ryan Wilson.
It was indeed. There, yeah, that was. I knew it was a dark-colored car, just couldn't see who it was. It was so quick that he happened. As you can see right there, does have quite a bit of damage. If you went to his right front suspension here, we can see the scuff marks and the fenders bent there. So it definitely has some major damage as he's going to get passed by the 6 of Matthew Ellis here now. So he's definitely got enough damage that it's affecting that car. A new driver here we want to highlight, that is that car right there of Gary Weaver. He is the 92, so didn't have his number, but again, the 92 of Gary Weaver, brand new to the series here, has not raced before.
Yeah, welcome Gary Weaver to the series. We've got some pretty good drivers here, so he's somebody we'll keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, definitely someone I think to keep an eye on. Brand new. Got his driver photo in this week, so we put it in there to make sure he would be in there for the race. He's leading the pack right now in about 17th, or A pack, and he went out of the pack, but he's leading A pack of drivers. As it looks like Armando Ortiz is going to try to get behind him as they're side by side at the line, and it will go to Armando Ortiz for that position. Looking a little bit further up, though, you get the first probably 20 cars or so, at least 15, for the most part 20. They've kind of single filed out. They're not racing too hard. These guys know it's a 90-lap race. They have plenty of time to make their moves later on in this race. So really nobody's trying to press any issues for the most part. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, I'm watching Austin Edstrom. Looks like he's sizing up Mikey Neal there a little bit in third place there for second place. And as I say that, he's backed off a little bit there, but definitely not being too aggressive, but looked like he might have been sizing him up there on a corner to see if he couldn't make a move.
Yeah, and Austin Edstrom, he's got building a Global Building Contractors on his car, trying to put the sponsor in victory lane. He, again, we talk about it, we don't want to rehash the past for him too much, but, it's history. It's part of his career here in this series. Heartbreak for him. It wasn't last week, I believe it just 2 weeks ago. Out front in a little tap DQ'd him from the race because of incident points. So, he was that close. He could smell victory. And we're right here. We're only on lap 10 of 90. So right now we have 80 laps to go. I'm sure he can get a hint of it, but he can't quite call the smell of victory right now. But he definitely has a fast car, and he probably has a really good shot of being in there. He's always fast, and to be up front and fast is a really good sign for you early in the race.
Yeah, hey, speaking of fast cars, I'd like to highlight the 42 car of Armando Ortiz and the 47 car Trevor Graffam. They're both up into the middle of the field from the back. They're making steady gains, turning some pretty good lap times. I think Armando Ortiz in 17th place already, up 7 spots from 24th, and Trevor Graffam's up 9 spots. He's our biggest mover right now from 29th to 20th.
He is indeed, and he is moving forward, and he's really right in the groove. He's with that group with Gary Weaver, so he may get by him in the next lap or so. But those guys are actually 2 and 3 wide back there. That's, right back there where that starts. As he just looked like he blinked this a little bit. He's trying to battle with the 29 of Jamal Poe right now as well. But these guys back here, they're not giving an inch right now. They're really trying to get position. Again, you were talking about 5 to 10 laps, and around in that time is when you'll start seeing a fall off on your tires, as we already are. These guys back here, Trevor Graffam, his fastest lap of 30.2, this last lap 31.3, so they're already starting to lose time on their tires. They have worn here with 13 laps on them, so now is when you're going to have to be more conservative with your passes and plan them out very closely.
Yeah, there's almost a second of fall off right now. I've got 2 things I'm keeping an eye on. Brian Irby in the 33, and then the 11 car of Dennis Ellis, and the 48 car of Jack Fellers just had a nice 3-wide battle there as Brian Irby tries to make his way forward. But Armando Ortiz is turning in probably on average the fastest laps right now in the middle of the field, and he just keeps picking them off. He's up to P15, and he's pretty consistently the fastest guy right now, as he just turned a 31.044 on that last lap, which once again was the fastest lap in the field.
Yeah, and that time, that time by, it looked like Bryson Barker was the fastest. But, you know, not to take away anything from Ortiz, as he gets a little out of shape there, too. You know, he's running flames. Flames make you faster. So that's just a proven fact, at least in my mind anyway, that flames make you faster here in iRacing. So that could be why. Is definitely, he is a hot driver right now, and he is on the move. Regardless whether those flames really have anything to do with it or not, he's definitely one of the hot drivers in this series. And I expect to see him in the top 5 here, probably within the next 20 laps.
Yeah, he's on the move. We'll see if he burns it up. Like I said, this is one of those, there's enough grip. You can get these tires pretty hot. Being fast and managing those tires, that's where the real skill is. Those are the guys that end up front. So, you know, you just got to hope that this early aggressiveness that he has doesn't burn his stuff up there, and he doesn't end up in the wall or something here.
Yeah, you definitely do not want to do that. As we're looking, everybody's really in the 31 through 31 high, 31 twos to 31 fives. There's a few 6s and 7s in there, as Armando Ortiz trying to make it to get by the 44 of Len McNeese. Keeping in mind, we didn't go through it here. We'll go through it during the caution. I'm sure we'll have at least one. Len McNeese is your points leader right now. Again, we had some issues with the overlays. Our iRacing wanted to lag. We didn't go through them there. But Len McNeese is your points leader right now, with only a 5-point lead over Roger Muth. And looking here, we'll see where Roger Muth is in the race right now. I believe, if we can find him here, he is not sure where he is in
P4. He's up in 4th place.
There he is. So yeah, he's running in P4 right now. So he's got a good run going here in 4th place. So he's definitely, as he runs, going to be ahead of Len McNeese in the point standing. So it looked like he may take the points lead.
Yeah, we've got a long ways to go here. Watching Jameer Mohammed come through the field there a little bit too, and Alex Huffman, and looked like Alex Huffman scraped the wall there about a lap ago. So not sure if he got any damage, but certainly lost a couple positions on that wall scrape.
Yeah, indeed he does. And we're going to reload our trading paints. I'm not sure. I believe. There we go. Now we got the 39's paint job. Paint job wasn't showing up, but we do have it now. So I apologize for that. We're going to go back here a little bit to about 16th position, as we're going to check in with Justin Starr. He's in a huge group right now, as him and Brian Irby just bumped just a little bit. But we talked about Armando Ortiz again. He's right there now with Brian Dorsey. Justin Starr, he's up to 13th place. Just a few laps ago, he was back in 17th. So he is still moving through. So obviously at this point, he has not burned up those tires yet. You know, he may be fast, but he also knows how to conserve those tires.
I'll tell you what, Armando Ortiz is a man on a mission, and he's got a nice group of cars here to pick up some spots. So he's trying to make the pass here for the 11th position, I believe, right now on Justin Starr, the MaxSpeedTV car. And, you know, Brian Irby, one of the drivers that we highlighted as a guy to watch, is the next guy in his sight. So Armando Ortiz on a mission.
He is indeed. And I'm not sure who some of these cars are. We got some white cars out there. We do apologize, Trading Paints just doesn't want to cooperate today for some reason. But there they look like they're loading, and he is moving forward now to 11th. He's kind of working with the 33. As soon as the 33 picks off a car of Brian Irby, he is right behind him to follow in those footsteps, as their next one is going to be the 11 of Dennis Ellis here. And keeping in mind, we're on lap 23 of 90 already, so quite a few laps in, caution free thus far. We still have 68 laps to go, but at this rate we're gonna get into green flag stops probably pretty soon, as again your prediction from watching these guys was about 28 to 30 laps on fuel, so we're gonna be closing in on that window very quickly.
Yeah, I expect we're probably getting close, as Armando Ortiz looks like he's got Brian Irby, and he's trying to get around Dennis Ellis right now to be in the top 10 here. Or actually scored his 9th place there now. He does get by Armando or Dennis Ellis.
Yeah, and you know, hopefully nobody has any mistakes on pit road. We talked about a lot of stuff in the pre-race show. That was not one we talked about. You know, I thought we might have a caution, as it looks like Brian Irby got into the wall there just a little bit. That's one thing we didn't really go over, was green flag pit stops. You know, you've got to get this car slowed down from 170, 180 to 50 miles an hour on pit road. That is a huge change when it comes to speed. You know, you've got to get slowed down in time. You have to not be speeding on pit road. You have to make sure you don't go through your pit stall. You got to make sure you don't pit too far to the left, to the right.
Oh, sorry about that. My race control here said that we had somebody pitting already, but Austin Edstrom, it looks like he's starting off the green flag pit stops.
He isn't due. Bryson Barker is going to be on there as well. And we have a couple more. Alex Huffman on pit road, as well as James Morgan going to be on pit road. So 4 drivers already on pit road. Those 4 drivers are going to get it started here. So we'll see who follows. But you were right, yes. That'll give the lead to Mikey Neal. As right there, he will lead his second lap. So he's putting these guys a lap down already. As again, it's going to be 4 cars on pit road. Nobody else following so far. Again, I figured we'd have somebody short pit around 28, but they went in around lap 26. So they're really short pitting it here tonight.
Yeah, I guess with 90 laps to go, they don't feel like they're going to be able to stretch that, you know, and get that to a 2-stop race, break it up into 3 30-lap segments. So they went ahead and came in and pit just a little bit early here, it looks like.
They did indeed, and while we were sitting there talking, Mikey Neal, your leader, is going to come down pit road. So he's going to come down pit road, and he is going to take that pit stop as well, giving the lead to the 39 of Roger Muth. So Roger Muth will lead a lap here. We'll see. He has led officially 1 lap. We'll see if he comes down pit road next. It seems like everyone's staying out till they lead a lap here for the most part, and then they come in. At least that's what Mikey Neal did. Lead a lap or 2. He led 2, and there's the second lap for Roger Muth. So we'll see if he follows suit and comes in this time by.
Well, we're thinking that they're probably pretty close to out of gas. Not sure if everybody can lead a lap. As Bryson Barker and Austin Edstrom take Armando Ortiz 3 wide there on their new fresh tires. We've also got Dan Butler, David Gainforth, Jack Fellers, Brian Irby, and John Varillas, or Van Varillas, taking pit stops too.
And there it is, yeah, and Roger Muth going to take it on the pit road. And well, as it looks like you said, a couple others are going down, so there it is. Caution is coming out, so this is going to change things big time here.
Yeah, caution came out. I'm not sure what happened here. I'm looking on an off track for Mikey Neal, so that would be, not sure if it was him or not, but that would be devastating, as he was one of the leaders of this race.
We'll see. We're looking here. He may be there too, but Brandon Dorsett, he is smoking in the number 5. So let's go back and take a look and see what happened to him as well. He may have been involved in it.
Yeah, it looks like 3 cars, Armando Ortiz, Mikey Neal, and let me try to get back to it here and see who that 3rd car is.
Oh, we were just, yeah, Armando Ortiz in it. It looks like maybe the 5
car. Yeah, Brandon Dorsett, Mikey Neal, and Armando Ortiz getting into it there.
They'll go back. We had to go back a little bit further here. There we see the 5 and the 42 of Dorsett and Ortiz. What happened between these two? It looked like, yeah, coming into the quad oval, the 5 got loose, collected the 42, and then the 8 car just pile drived both of them. So that's unfortunate, as Mikey Neal just had nowhere to go. Oh, and it looks like the 42 gets hit again, I believe by the 32, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure who that was. It was the Napa car. I'm just not sure what number he was.
Yeah, and we talked about getting into that quad oval. As the banking goes away on this track and those tires get old, it's real easy coming off at 3 and 4 to just get a little bit too much wheel into it and have that rear end come around on you. And that's exactly what it looks like happened there with the 5 car. And he just got into the Armando Ortiz, and then they collected a few cars behind him. And it's extremely unfortunate because there were some fast cars in that. And I believe the Napa car is the 31 of Tommy Gossett. So you know, a guy we talked about having to start it in the back of the field and getting collected in the mayhem there a little bit as he tries to bring it through the field.
Yeah, and that's never what you want. Again, that kind of is part of the penalty. Not getting in a wreck, that's definitely not the penalty. But being in the back, you're subject to back there where stuff happens. You know, stuff happens in the front. You get wrecks up there as well. But, you know, you do have some stuff that happens typically in the back. So, you know, that's just a side effect, unfortunately, of being back there. You're back there where the accidents and cautions happen, and sometimes there's just nowhere for you to go, and you end up getting collected into it. So it is very unfortunate that it happens. If you're back there, you try to avoid it, but sometimes there's just no way to do it.
Well, it's just a simple numbers game. You know, we're talking about going around, you know, a mile and a half in 29 seconds. You're doing 180 miles an hour. There's really, you know, not a whole lot of reaction time. You know, a quarter second is a big distance. So the more cars you have in front of you, the more chance something happens in front of you, and you just don't have enough time to react, or you're going too fast to do any kind of reaction. It's not like you can stop on a dime or turn to the infield without consequences there. So more cars in front of you, the better chance you're going to get collected in something.
This is very true, as we are on lap 33 now of 90. So we're just over a third of the way done. And right now we have only 27 laps on our cars on the lead lap. As it looks like after cautions and after the caution in pit stops here, we're going to have James Morgan, John Van Varelis, Alex Huffman, Brian Irby, Armando Ortiz. Those guys are, some of these still on pit road, but several guys a lap down, as it looks like Jonathan Ellis has quite a bit of damage. He's going to pull it down to pit road and see if he can't get that car fixed. As there it is, it's going to be the one to go here. So lights are off and a lot of cars on the tail end getting wave arounds after they had already made their pit stops.
Yeah, and Jonathan Ellis looked like he stayed out there in the leading lap with that amount of damage that he had. It's a little bit surprising here because I would almost think that he would have wanted as many opportunities to pit during this caution as he could get.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the points, he is currently 58 points out of the lead, back in 13th. So he definitely is not out of this by any chance. He's in the top 20 in points. So, you know, maybe he really just wanted that bonus lap to lead. Again, once you get to the end of the season, every point counts. So that's probably what he was doing, but you're right. I'd want to get in there and get that damage repaired and see how many positions I could gain versus that 1 point, try to get that 1 point later in. But again, you know, he did lead lap, so he is going to get at least that one bonus point.
Well, yeah, as the pace car pulls off here, we've got Jason Covington and Dennis Ellis in the front row taking the green flag. Brian Bizzle in third, Justin Starr fourth place, Len McNeese fifth, and Brian Dorsey in sixth as they try to get single filed here into the first corner. But looks like the 15 and the 11, Brian Bizzle and Dennis Ellis, are going to take that first corner too wide.
They are indeed. And guys, really starting to mix it up now. Again, we're over a third of the way. We still have about 60 some odd laps to go. As we'll take a look here. There it is, actually 56 laps to go. We've only had one caution so far for 3 laps. So with 56 to go, you know, at the rate we're going, I don't see too many cautions. So these guys know they've got to get going and get up where they want to be very quickly here. Because if you can get to that front, the quicker you can get there when a caution does come out, or if you have to make a green flag stop, the more space you have between you and the car behind you, the less spots you're going to lose during that green flag pit stop. As we almost had them there, but came out right during the middle of pit stop. So the way we're looking, I would expect to see another one here, or another green flag start about 26 laps in.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, and I just want to point out, too, because we're in the middle of those green flag pit stops, we've got some of those guys who took the early pit there stuck in the back of the field there a little bit. Austin Edstrom and Bryson Barker, a couple of our faster cars, trying to make their way through the field here, and sometimes that can be a recipe too for an accident there when you get fast guys mixing it up with a little bit of slower guys trying to get through the field.
Yeah, it really can, because you know, you're not being impatient per se, but you can get a little impatient, especially if you know you're that much faster and the car in front of you is just not letting you by. You get a little impatient with them, as we're looking, like you're talking about, the last lap for Bryson Barker ran a 30.354. The car in front of him ran a slower time there. Well, actually, showing you ran a 22-second lap. That is not correct. We'll see when it updates. There it is, a 30.458. The lap before that, he ran a 30.9. So he is quite a bit faster than him, and he does not want to be held up any longer than he has to by this driver, seeing how he's led 24 laps. He's led the most laps in the race so far, and he's the only driver to lead double digits when it comes to laps. So he wants to get back to the front, and he wants to get there in a hurry.
Well, yeah, I'm showing Bryson Barker and Austin Edstrom turning laps about 0.3 of a lap faster than our leaders right now, who aren't in traffic. So that's how much faster these two guys are right now, and we talked about you know, the speed disparity. Well, I mean, braking points, when you're that much faster, you got different braking points, you're running different lines. It's real difficult to be maybe the car that's behind that slower car, because you don't know where they're braking. As we see the 88 get right on the back bumper of the 72 car here right now. Yeah, they got their hands full trying to get through traffic, and it's you know, they're putting on a pretty good show right now.
They really are. As we're sitting back here, not even watching the leaders at the moment, as there's really a nice little gap there. But there may be a battle. We'll switch up here. Jason Covington in the front. Brian Bissell trying to run him down. There's only a gap of 0.2 at the moment, now 0.166. So we very well could have a new leader here in the next couple of laps, as that 15 is really trying to run down the 10 of Jason Covington. And take a look at our top 5 right now. After pit stops and after all the shakeups happen, it is Jason Covington, Brian Bizzle, Dennis Ellis, Justin Starr running 4th, and Len McNeish, your points leader, running in 5th place right now. So things have definitely shaken up here. As look back to 4th position, that is a huge battle with about 5 cars all for the position. We got a car going around. That is the 63 of Charles Hoffman.
I'm trying to find out what happened too. I'm showing Jomir Muhammad might have been involved in it too. Not sure.
We got several people there all grouped together. I'm not sure who all caused this. Just have to sit here and look. The 9, the 63, and the 47 are all there. The 44 getting in there. It looked like the 9 blinked a little bit. May have scared. I'm not sure what happened. It looked like the 63 tried to come up a little bit. Thought he may have been clear of the 6, I believe it was, and just wasn't clear.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing the same thing there too. It looks like just some good hard racing. I think the 9 was blinking just a little bit. The 63 kind of looked like he just come up and caught the front end of the car behind him there.
Yeah, and a correction, that was the 47 that he slid up to, not the 6. So we're sitting here watching it from the blimp mode, see if we can get a better view. He does. The 47 gets a huge run, and you'll see it here in just a moment. Right there, he gets the run. Yeah, and the 63 just wasn't quite clear, you know, just a racing deal there. As we talked about it earlier, people would get involved in stuff when they thought they were clear and they weren't. And that happened once again. And very interesting here, we only went about 10 laps, maybe less, but everybody's on pit road.
Yeah, well, a couple things we talked about there. First of all, that's exactly where you said early in the pre-race that accidents were going to happen. It gets so wide there, it's hard to lose track of cars. You drift up, you float up a little bit, not realizing there's somebody there. You don't see them in your mirror. Maybe you don't hear your spotter, and it looks like that's what happened. And as far as the pit stops, the other thing we said is 10 laps in, you've lost 3/4 of a second of speed. It feels like you've got old tires. You want new tires. So the leaders come in, everybody else is coming in. You don't want to stay out there. These guys will eat you up at 3/4 of a second a lap. So, two things that we highlighted in the pre-race, and it looks like they're proving true here.
Yeah, definitely coming to light, coming to truth, as that will reset the field. Keeping in mind, we'll pull up the cautions. That's only caution number 2. This time by, it will be halfway.
Yeah, a little bit of house cleaning here during that last run. I think Tommy Gossett took it around and put it in the garage there. And I think Trevor Graffman and Tony Seal may have also.
They are definitely, it's unfortunate that they are having to pack it up for Tommy Gossett, but it does happen. And it looks like we got a little bit of time here. I can see the lights are still on. Let's see if we can't get a quick word in with Gary Weaver, since it is his first race here, and he's sitting in 7th place right now.
And while you're grabbing Gary Weaver there, my mistake, it looks like Tommy Gossett is the only one that's taking it to the garage. The other cars are still on the track.
Well, that is unfortunate for them. Gary Weaver, you got a copy.
Yep.
Well, first race here with the series. Not sure if you've been a league member for a while, but we do. This is your first race that we've got to watch you race. You're running 7th right now for your first race. So what's it like out there at Charlotte tonight?
It's quite fun racing with everybody here, and yeah, you're right. It's my first race. I actually joined the league about 3 or so days ago, so here tonight, I'm finding that the middle line for me is running a lot better than the very low line on the inside. So it's quite fun. Tire fall off before that first caution was insane, but luckily I managed to keep it at least hitting from the wall very heavily. So.
Well, you definitely are putting together a great run, and it looks like we may see you in the booth here for the post-race show if you keep at the rate you're going, as some of these guys are going to get the wave rounds here. Running 7th, but it looks like you're getting ready to go racing again. But any quick shout-outs you want to give before we get you back down to the pits?
Yeah, Global Building Contractors, Iris and Drivers World, and my dad, because without him I wouldn't be having iRacing here, so thanks to him.
All right, well, good luck, and hopefully we'll see you later on in the booth.
Yep, thanks.
All right, well, we will jump off here, go to our main camera. Again, he's running, being scored in 8th right now, 7th and 8th. He's just fluctuating because that is live timing. But the lights are off. So, Jeff, you want to get us going here, and we'll go crank it up here for the restart.
Absolutely. We're watching the 11 car Dennis Ellis and the 10 car, who I believe is the leader and chose the outside, getting ready to start the field as the pace car pulls off. Looks like the 11 car of Dennis Ellis gets off to a nice start, followed by the 10 of Jason Covington. Len McNeese in the 44 has got 3rd place as he goes into the first corner, 2 wide with the 15 of Brian Bizzle. Behind them, we've got the 29 of Jamal Poe, the 92 Gary Weaver, and we've got several cars 2 and 3 wide coming down that first straightaway.
They do indeed, and we are cranking up style here. You get to give you a good feel of just how many cars are out here right now. So we are going to go radio silence for a lap or 2, and we'll be right back after some cranking up here on MaxSpeedTV. Alright, we are back here from Crank It Up. Again, we might go Crank It Up one more time later on in the night if we get a chance. Before we get to the racing action, we do want to remind everyone real fast, of course, if you are new to MaxSpeedTV, hit that subscribe button to be notified of all the racing we have going on. And definitely hit that thumbs up and let the fans, the drivers, let everybody know, sponsors, that you enjoy the racing. That they allow us to broadcast this race. Again, if it wasn't for the sponsors, we wouldn't be here. So we give it a thumbs up for all these drivers and, of course, the sponsors out there for tuning in. And thanks for all you fans tuning in. But Jason Covington out front at the moment. Dennis Ellis behind him. Brian Bizzle moving forward. And Len McNeese, your points leader, he is on the hunt. He has gained a ton of spots here. So we'll take a look real fast. He started 15th. He's all the way up to 4th position.
Yeah, and let's talk about that number 5 car there just a little bit too, Charles. Who do you see back there in that 5th position?
Let's take a look. That is the 84 of Bryson Barker. He is moving his way back to the front. Again, I believe he did go a lap down at one point during pit stops, but he is always someone to look out for, and he is definitely moving forward. I have a feeling if he keeps going at the rate we're going, as we were talking during the Crank It Up there, he may be at the front of this field again before you know it. He's still got the most laps led with 24.
Yeah, Bryson Barker is definitely looks like he's heading to the front, or at least going to make a serious run at it there. So we've watched him come through the field. We've got Austin Edstrom a couple spots behind him still in P9, and somebody else on that last run that we didn't really highlight who was really putting some laps down and coming to that field until he got caught in some traffic was Jamir Muhammad. He in the 14 car there. He was making some serious hay there for a little bit.
He was indeed. And another one, you know, we're not biased, but we do like the car. I think it's the best looking car out there. That is the 99 of Justin Starr. He's putting together a good run. He actually got by Gary Weaver. Gary Weaver was in 7th, so Austin Edstrom and Justin Starr both got by him here since the restart, and they're moving forward as fast as they can here, as we are now on a lap 11 of this stint. So here in the next probably 12 laps, 13 laps, we're going to see some more green flag stops again, as fuel will be running out again. It kind of mixed it up here with those cautions. It may have made this a two-stop race.
Yeah, I'm showing most of these guys are about 11, 12 laps on this, so you know, we think they've probably got about 16 laps or so left for fuel, which should take us out to around lap maybe 72, 70, 75, somewhere in there. So yeah, and then one more pit stop to the end. So it looks like we've got yet another series of green flag pit stops. Should it go green? As I'm watching Austin Edstrom try to make a move on Justin Starr on the inside. Both of those guys having good races tonight.
They are indeed. And one that you mentioned them earlier, I do believe, the 14 car back in 11th, Jamir Muhammad, if I do recall correctly. Yes, he was indeed one of them that received the EOL penalty. He had to start in the back. We'll take a look, see exactly where he started. He started 22nd. He's in 11th position right now. He's gained 11 positions in this race, and he is moving forward as he's trying to get by Brian Dorsey in the 9 and Gary Weaver in the 92. So he looks like he's going to take it 3 wide here, and I don't know if that's going to work out, but it did work out for him. But contact was made, as he will gain 2 positions just like that, and now he's in the top 10.
It definitely worked out, but there were some nervous guys back there in that mess. We saw guys bobbing and weaving, and maybe a little bit of sliding going on, but he made it. And speaking of guys that are moving through the field, the 29 car of Jamal Polo is our biggest mover right now, up 13 places from the 19th position up to P6. And of course, Len McNeese, who you highlighted just a little bit ago, is up 11 places as well to P4 right now from P15.
Yeah, he is indeed. So again, these guys are moving and going here. So it's just going to be a time to tell who is going to be the one in a victory lane. Again, that's all going to shuffle out, as right now there is a huge battle for 4th with Len McNeese and Bryson Barker. And it looks like at the line it is going to be the 84 of Bryson Barker, but Len McNeese not giving it up without a fight as he is battling very hard. Again, we are in the last half of this race here, as we are on lap 61 of 90. So taking a look, that's 30 laps to go. Usually within 20 to go, we really start seeing people start to push things a little bit harder than they normally would. But they're starting to do that early here, as it looks like there goes Dennis Ellis in the 11. He's going to be the first one to start pit stops here with only 17 laps on this fuel run.
Yeah, he's going to take an early pit stop. Looks like he's pulling the old road course maneuver here, where you start counting backwards. He figures he's got 28 laps fuel left, and there's 28 laps left in this race, so he's going to get his change up his pit cycle, maybe. And man, maybe he got out of there in time, if that's the case.
Yeah, we're watching him now. Can he beat the leaders out of pit road? We'll see. Or is he going to go a lap down? I think he may have beat the leaders out, because the leaders just now got to him, but he is being scored a lap down at the moment. We'll see if he gets the wave around here. He is indeed going in front of the pace car, so he beat him out. That was probably the luckiest move of the race right there, as the 11 of Dennis Ellis he was told, pass everyone. He made it out of pit road before the leaders got to him on pit road.
Yeah, that was his gamble. He was gambling that he was going to be able to get in there, get fresh tires, and get out in front of these guys before something happened, and he'd have another chance to get tires later, and it looks like this gamble may have paid off.
He did indeed. Oh, again, this will be, once we get the green flag, it'll be less than 30 laps to go. Let's see if we have Dennis Ellis in the chat. We'll get a word in with him if we do. We'll see if we do have him with us. Unfortunately, I don't see him here with us. That is unfortunate, because that was a good call for him. But I do not see him in chat with us. So unfortunate, but we can't get a word in with him. But regardless, that was a very good call, as he's coming back down pit road anyway. But he really didn't necessarily need to, but he's going to come in and get some tires and just enough fuel to make it to the end of this race.
So speaking of one of the things we didn't talk about was the wreck that precipitated this whole thing, and looks like somebody got into the wall and then came off the wall and got into Cody Brent Levitt there. So I'm not sure which car that was that bounced off the wall.
We'll definitely go back here real fast so we can find it.
Yeah, Cody Brent Levitt definitely went for a spin.
We'll see if we can find it. Look like here, about a minute back, he's already damaged. So we'll see if we can't go back here. Here we go. Back, had to go.
The 92 car. So the guy we just got done interviewing, it was the broadcaster's curse.
Yeah, that seems to be a curse we have around here. Gets into the wall. There he is. Gets the 38, and the 38 got the worst end of that by far of Cody Brent Levitt, as he is out of the race now. He has packed it up, as we have to go way back to find that one. But that is unfortunate that he is indeed out of this race already. But again, it does happen. And just again to clean house a little bit, Cody Levitt out of the race just now. Armando Ortiz out of the race, and Tommy Gossett out of the race. We do have some drivers on pit road. Brandon Dorsett sitting on pit road. He's been there for 24, almost 25 minutes. Mikey Neal's been on there for almost 26 minutes. So they're hanging in there. They want to try to get these damage repairs. Again, we take a look here at our cautions. That's only the third caution, 8 laps, 26 laps to go. If either Brandon Dorsett or Mikey Neal can get out there in the next probably minute or two while we're under caution, or even once we go racing, there is a chance they could possibly pass Armando Ortiz or Tommy Gossett on the track, as they're 19 and 28 laps down. So there still is spots to be gained at this point.
Well, yeah, and Mikey Neal's one of our top 10 cars in points in the standings right now. So I'm not sure. You know, I feel silly for not knowing, but I'm not sure what we've got for drops or playoffs or anything like that coming up. But as a top 10 car, he's probably got quite a bit to gain or lose here.
He does indeed. And I don't think they have any drops, but I could not be quoted on that. I'm not 100% sure myself. Assuming they don't, that makes it even worse. You want to get every position you can because you can't drop this week. So we assume that they do not, and we'll definitely find that out. But you know, if they don't, that's a good reason to stay in here and try to gain every position you can.
Absolutely. Looks like we've got the lights out. We'll be taking the green here next time around, huh?
Yeah, we will indeed. And I got somebody catching up to the back of the field here. I got a couple of cars tagging in. Looks like Gary Weaver is going to be tagging to the back here as he's back out there. Looks like here we'll take one more look at the cautions. 25 to go, so it's going to be 24 laps to go when we get the green. It seems like we just got here, and this race is already coming up on the 20 to go mark. Again, we've only been here for about an hour, 15 minutes, and a good 30 of that was, of course, in practice. So, and 10 of it was, or 5 was in qualifying. So, not that long here so far, and we're already getting ready to come to a close.
Yeah, as we take the green flag here, Brian Bizzle and Jason Covington lead the field, but Austin Edstrom says he's going to be a part of this.
He is indeed.
He's already up there competing for the lead, 3 wide there.
He is. He's not content with hanging back for third place. That may be a podium finish, but he doesn't want that bronze medal. He wants the gold. He wants all of it, and that's what he's going for here tonight. As a caution is going to come out once again. And I'm not sure who it's for this time. I don't see anyone off pace majorly.
Yeah, I'm going through the field right now trying to see if I can figure out what happened there.
Well, very interesting. Nobody off.
Looks like there's the Covington. Was one of them. I'm not sure what else. Maybe the 92 of Morgan as well.
Well, let's go back here and look at Craig Covington and see if we can figure out what might have happened.
It happened up in front of Covington, but he was one of them. I think the looked like some cars checking up maybe, and he just got a little bit sideways trying to check up for him.
Indeed, we're looking. We'll go back here just a little bit more. Gary Weaver involved. He was in the grass. Looked like maybe the 72 got into the wall, but that wasn't part of this one. Did see the 92 of Gary Weaver in the grass, so something happened with him to cause all this, and he was in front of these guys that you were talking about. So we'll see here as we're going to try to figure out what happened. He's all by himself, though. Somebody's already smoking. So him going in the grass was just to avoid some of this. So I'm not 100% sure who did cause any of this. There was a lot of confusion back there in the back of this field. But somebody ended up smoking, locking up the brakes. But I don't think anybody actually, for the most part, spun it around or anything. I think just some wall smacking and each other, getting into each other in contact was what actually caused the caution.
I think the 101 car there of, I think that's David Gainforth, isn't it? Got into the 6 car of Matthew Ellis. He got in the wall. He came back down after he... And I think we just had the car there with Covington in it, was just trying to move down to get out of the way, and he clipped the car below him, and just, you know, kind of that whole checkup. You see him wrecking up in front of you, and you're trying to get out of the way, and you end up wrecking yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anybody got too much damage, though.
Nah, not too much. The 101's probably got the worst out of any of it, but for the most part, not too terribly much. But, you know, that's, you know, best case scenario for Brian Bizzle right now, and worst case scenario at the same time. You know, it's under caution, so he's going to lead a few more laps here. And, you know, it's kind of like, not to bring up football because I don't even watch it really, but, you know, in this instance, this is kind of equivalent to running the clock down. This is good news for Brian Bizzle. You know, you don't want to race the end of the caution, and I'm sure he doesn't want cautions, but if it comes out, it is good for you if you're in the front, because that's just laps that you don't have to put wear on those tires and possibly spin yourself out, that you're leading this race. However, on the flip side of that,
well, I don't know about that, Charles. You got 6 laps on these tires, 20 to go. You're up front. You don't have the benefit of seeing what everybody else is going to do. You're trying to decide, do I got to come in and get new tires right now and lose all this track position? Is somebody behind me going to stay out? Or, do I stay out and risk having everybody else come back in behind me and get, the brand new tires?
that is true, too.
Yeah, it's excruciating up there as the leader trying to figure out what do you do. 6 laps is right in that zone of the tires still felt pretty good there at the end of that run, but they've only probably got a couple good laps left in them. And, I think if I'm up front, I probably come in and get new tires, but that is a tough call up there.
It is indeed, and, as talking about the flip side of all of this is now you have 19 to go when we get the green flag. And you've got Jameer Muhammad, Bryson Barker, and Austin Edstrom all over your back bumper. So, caution could be good if you're winding down laps, but now you've got 3 of the fastest guys in this league breathing down your neck for a restart. You make a mistake, and they're going to be right there to capitalize off of it.
Yeah, and they're fast enough that even if you don't make a mistake, they're going to be right there. So, and we saw that with Austin Edstrom. He was making a move for the lead anyways, trying to fight Brian Bizzle there and the 10 car of Jason Covington there for the lead. So I think you're going to do battle with those cars regardless if you're the 15 and Brian Bizzle. So maybe taking a few laps down isn't the end of the world here.
Definitely not the end of the world, as there it is. Getting a jump there. Green flag is back in the air. Brian Bizzle leading the pack to the line. And this could get interesting here. Again, we talked to Gary Weaver earlier, and he said the middle line was working better for him than the bottom, where a lot of these guys like to work. It looks like the bottom is working better for the 15, but he is up on the high side now, so maybe he's going to take to the high lane. As here comes the 88 of Austin Edstrom, and he's going to go around.
Yeah, I think the 15 was defending against Austin Edstrom there. He was a little more worried about him there, and it looked like Lyndon Neese and Bryson Barker just got into each other there.
Let's go back and take a good look at here as we'll go to our blimp camera.
Or I say that, I had the wrong, it was Austin Edstrom and the 10 of Covington, I believe.
It was indeed Covington in the 10, as we'll see exactly what happened here up from the Goodyear blimp camera. As again, this could get a little interesting. Oh yeah, just a shot to the back bumper from the 10 of Covington. Spun the 88 around and then hits him again after the caution out, and after that point he kind of became a pinball out there, getting hit by 2 or 3 other cars.
Yeah, it looked like, and I'm trying to get back to it there, like Bryson Barker, or not Bryson Barker, I keep getting confused there. Austin Edstrom might have just come down a little bit early there.
Yeah, it might have. Again, it's so close. It's so hard to tell. We can't tell in the booth. Maybe Austin came up just a tick. Maybe the 10 came down here. It's so hard to tell up here in the booth as to what happened. And again, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, to us, it's like, he could have came down. He could have come up. But they're doing 180 plus miles an hour. So, it's not like it is for us just sitting here in a chair calling this. They're actually out there on the track, and this firsthand. Being a driver, it's a totally different world when you're doing 180 plus mile an hour around a track, and you have 0.2 seconds to react to something.
Well, you don't have 0.2 seconds to react. That's the whole thing. When you've got something like that, and what you've got there, Jason Covington and Austin Edstrom battling. Jason's on the inside line. We highlighted that. You got Austin running that middle lane. We don't know which one the preferred lane is right now. Whether Jason Covington drove underneath him and he wasn't expecting it, or whether Austin Edstrom came down and got into him, is irrelevant. What we've got is 2 of the faster cars in this taking some damage and going back in the field here a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely is. And a note here to check in with Trevor Graffam. I'm not sure what happened there. He is being scored 25th, and he's dropping. Looking here, it says he lost connection to, maybe lost internet or something. But he is out of this race now, and he was on the lead lap. So that's unfortunate, as he is dropping spots pretty rapidly here. So, you know, that's never a good way to end losing your connection here with 16 laps to go.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to. And now this last caution is setting us up for something a little bit different too here. We've got the top 14 cars stayed out. They're on 12-lap old tires, and we've got everybody behind them on some fresher tires with 15 laps to go.
Yes, this could get very interesting as you have to go, like you said, all the way back to 15th of Dennis Ellis before you officially have some fresh tires. Actually, a little further back than that. All the way back to Charles Hoffman in 19th. So a lot of guys here, but, you know, Alex Huffman, he didn't pit there, but he does only have 3 laps on his tires, so relatively fresh tires compared to the rest of the fields. Like you said, that didn't pit have 10 to 12 laps on their tires, so not sure if it's going to play too much of a factor. Obviously, about 3 of those are going to be under caution here, so they may have a little bit of speed in there, but you know, we may see some of these guys come through the field that have fresher tires.
Well, we highlighted earlier in the race that after you get to about 7 or 8 laps, you've probably got about 3/4 of a second of fall off. So now we know that they don't have probably 8 laps of green flag racing on these tires. Maybe it's a little bit less than that, but plus they get this cool down period here, which will prolong that a little bit. But we may see somewhere, you know, in the neighborhood of a half-second discrepancy in speed here in these first couple laps on this restart, which you know, with 14 laps to go, could make things very, very interesting, exciting. A little bit of aggressive racing, maybe some 3-wide, 4-wide as some guys get impatient and try to get through the field. It's go time.
It isn't definitely go time. Going to be 14 to go at the line. And, you know, I just want to keep a close eye on these front guys here. Len McNeish, your point leader, up to second. You know, he's steadily been going up there, kind of like a stealthy little ninja, getting to the front as the green flag is out, and we have a huge wreck. Caution is out. The yellow, green flag didn't even get done coming out before the caution came out there. So again, caution is out once again, and let's go back and take a look, as that was a huge pileup right there at the start.
I'm not sure. It looked like maybe that 92 just spun his tires on that restart, which will happen if you're out there on old tires. Something we didn't talk about, but it's real easy to spin those tires, and it looks like, well, I thought he spun them, but now maybe somebody got into the rear. Regardless, it shot him into the wall in that restart and collected a whole bunch of cars behind him.
It did, and honestly, let's go back and take a look here. Actually, let's go to the front of this field if you want to go up there and look real fast. As we'll go back just a little bit here. Watch the 15. It maybe looked like the front of this field actually checked up right before the start of the race, and it checked up the entire field. Is maybe what originally actually caused this. As we're going to take a look here in the replay. It looked like this really did start at the front of the field. I just happened to catch the 15 of Brian Bizzle kind of check up the field.
Well, and that's what happens, right? So you get these little checkups up front, and it accordions the entire field. So, you know, as everybody hits their brakes, there's that little bit of delayed reaction. Everybody behind you has to hit the brakes a little bit harder. And by the time you get 7, 8 cars back, I mean, it's a major checkup. And that's what happened here is the 11 car, you know, he couldn't check up in time, got in the back at 21, knocked the 21 into the 92 of Morgan, and Morgan went into the wall, and as he got turned sideways, collected a whole bunch of cars.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, actually, now look at, the 15 may have slowed up a little bit to bunch them up, but it also looked like, you know, Bryson Barker up there, the front guys, you know, started to go a little bit, and then the leaders didn't go. So, you know, it's that accordion thing, you know. The front guys started to go a little bit, and then the leaders didn't go with them. Then again, it is the leader's discretion of when they go. And then just caused the chain reaction and caused a huge wreck. And that's probably the biggest wreck we've seen here. And unfortunately, it was right there on a restart.
Well, we talk about not knowing what's going on, not being in that cars. This is one of those cases. I've watched this several times now, and I think it was just the 92 and the 21 and the 11 car had just gotten a little bit too big of gaps, and they were trying to close those gaps before the start. And maybe they were laying back a little bit. Maybe they just timed it a little wrong, or maybe somebody wasn't paying attention. But it looked like they just closed those gaps, and when they went to check it up, you had a couple guys trying to close the gaps, and they just caught it off guard.
Yeah, just, you know, like I said, we're not in the car, and to sum it up, it's just one of those things. Racing is racing, and crap will happen. So, and that's just one of those things, you know, so many things can go wrong when you're behind the wheel of one of these cars, whether it's real or virtual, and this was one of those times. You know, anything can go wrong and will go wrong, as, you know, we like to refer to that as the perfect storm. You know, so many variables had to be, in fact, in a place there for that to happen, and they were there this time, and it was just a bad restart, but they'll regroup here and get this going again as the lights are still on, so it looks like we're going to have about a 10-lap shootout.
Well, and one of the things that we talk about in the super speedway racing a little bit, but not here so much, is the view that you have, right? So on a restart, when you're right on the bumper, the car's in front of you, you can't see anything but the bumper of the car in front of you. You can't see the leaders. You can see maybe a couple cars in the other lane ahead of you. So you're really watching for any sudden movements, the cars in front of you, because you've got to pounce on that restart. You can't lose a tenth on that. It's got to be a quick reaction. And so if a car's maybe sucking up the gap, maybe just a little bit too aggressively in front of you or something, you may take that as a, hey, we're going. Because it's a leader-controlled restart. It is not on the green flag here.
Yeah, losing my voice there, but yeah, it really is. You know, it's the best way I ever had someone to describe a restart to me is like two deer or two bears out in the woods fighting. It's a sign of aggression. You know, the first one to make that little move, everyone else follows behind them. And, you know, if you have people that make moves and then some others that don't make moves, then those others have to do something. In this case, it's checking up. And then chaos ensues afterwards. So, you know, that's exactly what happened here. But, you know, some people did get some damage out of it. I still see, for the most part, a lot of people on the track. So hopefully they did recover from that. But regardless of what happened then, 10 laps to go here with the shootout if the lights go out this time. You know, this is really going to be interesting here now. You know, with 20 to go, it was one thing. Now we're 10 laps to go. With the shootout here, people are going to start getting really aggressive in these last laps, because that's when they need to make the moves. They've got to get up there to the front. You know, one more caution or so, and this race could end under caution.
Well, and you said last time that we had to caution that that's probably not what Brian Bizzle wanted to see. Well, I can just about guarantee he wanted to see this one. And we've got tire discrepancies. We've got guys on new tires. He wants less laps right now, because you don't want to give the guys on the fresher tires more laps to catch you. So he's got a nice cushion of about 10 cars behind him on the same tire cycle he is before you get to those faster cars. And so you really want to limit the amount of time that those guys on the fresher tires have to come up and catch you.
Yeah, you really do. And you'd have to go all the way back to about 13th position before you'd get some of those new tires. As Alex Huffman, one of the newer tires, he was only able to pick up one position on those new tires to get by the 45 Patrick Pylon, who, by the way, you know, we haven't talked about him a whole lot. He has gained quite a few spots, just not quite into the top 10 or top 5 yet. But I'm going to keep my eyes on Bryson Barker and Jameer Muhammad. Even really Justin Starr's having another good run here. So it's going to be very interesting. As there it is, a green flag is out. 9 laps to go here in your race. Again, 9 to go. This is going to get very interesting here in the closing laps.
Yeah, I'm with you. Keeping an eye on Bryson Barker, Jameer Muhammad, as Bryson Barker takes it to the inside of Len McNeese for the second place position already, and sets his sights on Brian Bizzle in first place here. Looks like Len McNeese may try to cross him over, though.
He is indeed going to try to do something. Justin Starr up to 4th. He got by Jameer Muhammad. So, you know, he's putting on a good run here. He has said lately when I've been talking to him, again, he is definitely wanting to get a good run going here. He has just not been having the runs he wanted to. So, you know, to get a top 3 finish would be perfect for him. That's just something he needs right now, a good run. Regardless, he's definitely in 4th, so still having a terrific run. even if he doesn't make it into the top 3. But Bryson Barker is trying to make a bid for the lead now.
Yeah, Bryson Barker working that inside line. It looks like he's got position on the 15 car. I guess we'll see if that middle lane of that inside line works right now. As Brian Bizzle did not defend the inside line, you got to think that maybe the outside line is preferred getting run off the corner right now.
It is indeed looking that way, as looks like Bryson Barker is in the lead. A little bit of contact there, nothing major. That is not what he wants to see, but those are both 20 old tires up there. So you'd have to go all the way back again to Dennis Ellis in 10th to have 15 laps on his tires. It's coming very quickly here. Len McNeese, your points leader, trying to hold on to 3rd, as we're keeping an eye on that battle right there, as there's a gap of .266 between Justin Starr and Len McNeese. But I think he might catch him. That's a good little battle starting to brew there. And we'll see Bryson Barker. I don't know if that's going to be much of a battle, but between him and Brian Bizzle, if he can get back to his back number, it might.
Looked like the 11 maybe of Dennis Ellis went to the infield there, bringing out to caution.
He will indeed caution now. Well, there's a ton of cars going around back there as well. It looks like Roger Muth going to be involved, and that will end the race, I do believe. Let's go back and take a look and see exactly what happened with these guys.
Dennis Ellis just got in the wall, coming off the corner, trying to push it there a little bit, and took it to the infield. And we had a bunch of cars, including Brian Irby in the back there, that looked like maybe a separate incident they spun in.
Yeah, lots of cars going everywhere. Cars, looks like a lot of guys out of the race due to incident points as well. We'll sit here watching Roger Muth in the 11. Oh, yeah, there's the 39 getting involved in that one, but ahead of them, oh, there's Brian Irby. So, yeah, the 39 got together. I'm not sure who that was with, as we'll take another look since we have plenty of time here. The 39 of Roger Muth got into somebody, or somebody got into him. I'm not sure who it is. It's a white and blue car. We're trying to take a look here and see. The 52, not sure if who came up or down. It looked like maybe the 52 got into the 39, and then the 33 of Brian Irby just had nowhere to go, but right into the door of the 39.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this wasn't just checking up for the stuff that was going on ahead of him, or if this was a separate incident. A lot of cars went around and coming off at turn 3 there and down the quad oval.
Just a crazy deal, and we both mentioned it. You mentioned it first, I believe. The tri-oval. That whole area is a very tricky place to be, and yet again, it roared its ugly head up, and it claimed a few more cars here.
Yes, it did. We talked about that being the place to watch. Several cars caught up in an incident there at the end. I think you got some guys on some fresher tires trying to make some moves, get their spots back at the tail end there of that that mess. Or at the beginning of that mess, you got some of the guys on older tires there, so it was kind of where the two were meeting. I saw the 11 car of Ellis get in a wall and spin down. I don't know if that caused some checkups behind him or if they got separate incidents, but we know that's just the we got older tires, we got fast cars, slow cars, and they're trying to navigate that. That's where we thought the wrecks would happen.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but it does happen. It's part of racing. 3 laps to go. Lights would have to go out this time for us to have a 1-lap shootout. I don't think they are going to, as we'll keep a close eye on that pace car. But again, with 5 to go, I don't think they're going to go out. They indeed are not. Lights are still on. 2 to go. So that indicates we will not go racing again. So unofficially, Bryson Barker going to get the win. So definitely a good win for him, especially considering where he started. As we'll pull up the driver bar. He started first, fell all the way back, went a lap down, and fought his way all the way back to the front. So, you know, talk about some ups and downs here, but in the end, he comes away with the win.
Yeah, he had the, you know, he got in on the early pit stop cycle and ended up in the back. We had that caution come out in the middle of green flag pits and had to work his way through the field. We saw how fast he came through the field. And, you know, he got back up there and made the pass just about a lap before that caution flag went back. So A good race by him. Brian Bizzle had a nice solid race up there all night. Len McNeese was up front most of the race. We highlighted Justin Starr there in 4th place, and the great run that he had. Jameer Mohammed looked like maybe he just didn't have much left there at the end, but he put on a heck of a show. He's one of those guys that had to start in the back and came through the field. So he put on a heck of a show coming through the field. Jamal Poe was another guy that gained a lot of spots coming through the field. Matthew Ellis, same with him. So yeah, great race, and it looks like it's going to end under caution here.
Yeah, it's not the way anybody wants to get a win, but he definitely earned it here. So, you know, at least he's able to get the win. Caution or not, again, he earned it in the 84 of Bryson Barker. Justin Starr going to have a huge run, something he drastically needed here to finish in the 4th position. Not quite a top 3 podium finish, but a solid finish nevertheless. And really, Jameer Mohammed, as we'll look at him real fast, take a look. He started at 22nd up to 5th. A huge run for him. But due to the last cautions there, I just don't think he had the time to get up to the front that he needed.
No, he lost a little bit of spot there. We had that restart. Justin Starr was able to get underneath him. It looked like he was falling back. So I don't know if he had damage or if maybe he just burned his tires up getting up there. But he didn't look like he had anything for the top 4 there at the end.
Now, definitely, overall good run, just not quite enough in the end as they are going to cross the line right there. Your race winner will be Bryson Barker in the number 84. I'm sure he's going to do some celebrating here, so we'll stay on him. And we'll be right back here in just a moment with your post-race show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here in the post-race show as we're watching the 84 of Bryson Barker do some burnouts there. But again, we're going to start with a 3rd place. Your points leader coming into the race by 5 points. That is Len McNeese. First off, you get a solid top 3 finish here, and you had a lot of good drivers breathing down your neck there on the restart. So to hold them off and finish in 3rd while being the points leader, it looks like you'll probably keep it. How does it feel to know you're going to keep the points lead and to finish in a good, solid 3rd place finish here tonight?
Hey, it's a good feel just to finally get to finish up here in the top 3 and get to talk to you guys on the podium.
Definitely a huge field. 34 drivers, a very stout field at that. A bunch of A-class drivers and B-class drivers. Probably one of the strongest fields we've seen in quite a while as far as safety rating goes. And just the sheer amount of cars. Again, a huge, just a outstanding job to even finish in the top 5, much less the top 3, is just outstanding here. As we're looking, you started 15th and finished 3rd. So, you know, that right there shows you worked your butt off here to get to the front and to finish 3rd. What was it like getting through these fields, and do you think you had anything for Bryson Barker?
Oh, it was rough to get through the field here and trying. When we had a few incidents there, we was trying to dodge some wrecks and had some close calls. But I don't know if I had anything for Bryson. Him and Brian both were pretty much hooked up. I know Brian bumped the wall just a little bit there just before the caution come out. I don't know if I'd have got him or not, but it was a challenging race. Done good there for the first part there. We made the first set of cautions coming up, you know, for the pit stops right at the first caution, and then it seemed like from there it just went caution fest pretty well.
Yeah, definitely had a few cautions there at the end. Again, it always stinks to have a race end under caution. But, you know, in the long run of things, hopefully we didn't have too terribly many. We'll come back here, I believe, next week. I'm not sure what track we're at, but we're going to be back here, or back on the racing. But I believe, I'm not sure where we are at next week. Don't see it on the schedule just right off the top of my head. But, you know, either way, you put in a good run. Any shout-outs or sponsors you want to mention there for that 3rd place finish?
Yeah, it was a good run there. We had this global building contractor's car trying to do the best we could do for them, and we want to definitely thank iRacing Drivers World for jumping on board with us. And, you know, then we got that Leo's Coney Island coming up here for the Tuesday Night Truck League, so we're looking forward to them coming on board. And definitely want to thank Justin and all the other admins in here and you guys in the booth for putting on a good show.
Well, definitely will be covering that one as well on Tuesday nights. So definitely looking forward to the Leo's Coney Island Truck Series as well here for Race Core. But finishing one spot ahead in 2nd place, that is the 15 of Brian Bizzle. And first off, before we get to the actual interview, I just want to say it's always been you know, a treat for me to want to interview Brian here just because of his profile picture that he sent in. That is probably the coolest looking profile picture we've ever had sent in. Looks like one of the monsters from Monster Incorporated, the movie. Probably the coolest picture ever. So that being said, you finished 2nd. How does it feel to finish in 2nd place here tonight?
Second sucks when you can't finish 1st.
Well, that it could be true, but you definitely had a car here, and both of you had 26 laps on those tires. He worked his way back up. You started 6th, finished 2nd, so overall you had a good car. You finished above where you started at, so you can't be too disappointed about that. A good points night for you here. You're certainly sitting, it looks like, about 7th or 8th in points, so it's going to be a good points night for you. Looking towards the championship, is that your long-term goal, the championship, or are you really just kind of focusing on a week-to-week and trying to get the wins?
I start focusing on points and stuff. I mess up. I'm just here to have a good time.
Well, there you go. Well said. You know, that is the way a lot of the people do championships out here. You know, you don't focus on the long term. You just come out here, focus week to week, try to get a good finish, get a win, and it just ends up working out in their favor that they end up getting the championship down the road. Don't even know they're up there in the points too high until they get told about it. But, you know, regardless, you had a good finish here. But do you have any sponsors out there you want to shout out, or just any shout outs, family, friends, anyone that might be watching you want to say hi to?
Well, I'd like to appreciate Global Building Contractors for coming over here, helping us out as much as they have. Justin and all the admins is everything they do every week for us. Covington Motorsports, they get these cars right every week. And my wife for letting me drive as much as I do.
All right. Well, again, congrats on a solid second place finish here tonight. And that being said, the man finishing just ahead of him was the 84 of Bryson Barker. And I believe, Jeff, you have caught up with him.
Yeah, I've got Bryson Barker here. Bryson, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Bryson Barker, congratulations on the win. I believe this is your second win of the season. I know that you were pretty dominant on some of the short tracks earlier. I think you had a second place finish maybe in Bristol. I think you won Richmond, and you've proven that you're not just a short track guy here with a first place finish at Charlotte. Congratulations on the victory. And so tell us about your race tonight.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, honestly, the race started out about perfect. A green flag run there. Then the caution came out during the cycles, and it kind of messed everybody up. And I started back in around 20th and kind of just rode my way through because my tires were kind of worn. And that caution came out, and I took two, gained some track position, and I was able to work my way up to like the top 5 there. And then another caution came out, and I think I started like 5th, and then through those the cycle there where we kept having cautions, it was hard for me to gain any ground until I believe Austin wrecked, and then I was able to move up to 3rd, and then that restart there, I had a heck of a restart, and was able to pass Brian for the lead.
Yeah, you started first, you finished first. You didn't spend a lot of time in first in between. I think you ran up front there in that first cycle. Looked like you, Austin Edstrom, and Mikey Neal maybe short pit there by a couple laps. You came in, you had some bad luck there with the caution. When all the dust settled, you guys ended up there at the back of the field, and you had to drive through the field, and we know how hard that can be with a 35-car field. We were watching your lap times, and you're going through traffic, and you and Austin Edstrom were posting the fastest lap times on the track in the middle of traffic. So tell me a little bit about coming through that field like that. You guys were flying, and there was a lot of cars. You were making some aggressive moves. You were making some good moves. So how hard is that?
Honestly, man, I mean, it's not as bad as you might think. I don't know. It's when you're experienced and you know how to maneuver the car to get around guys, have patience, and work your way through. Like, we stood about 40 or 50 to go, so I knew my race wasn't over. Just slowly get back to the front and just see what happened when I got up there.
Well, you were definitely patient about it. You didn't push the envelope too much. You just kind of took your time, and I think you got the lead back probably with about 1 to go before that last caution hit. Like you said, you got a great restart and got back up to the front. You're one of the guys that we watch every week because you're up front every week. So congratulations again on, I believe, your second win of the season. And do you have any shout-outs? Anybody you want to say something to?
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, Global Building Contractors, once again, I mean, for them, we wouldn't be able to do this right now. And the new sponsor, Drivers iRacing World, I appreciate them coming on. And just Justin and the rest of the admins for putting this on for us.
All right. Well, Bryson Barker from Victory Lane. Charles, we'll send it back to you.
All right. Again, that was your top 3 here in the post-race show. And definitely a good race to watch here for everyone. Definitely probably one of the best races we've seen here. A few cautions, but for the most part, it was fairly clean. We did have a few cautions. We'll pull that up real fast. 7 cautions here, 28 laps out of 90. So the majority of the race was raced, of course, under green flag conditions. So that is always what you want here. You want the majority of the race under green, and it was. It just happened to end under caution. But 34 drivers here, so let's go through your unofficial race results. Again, barring any race and control issues, we'll go through that. And I'll run through our top 15. Jeff, if you want to finish us off here with 16th through 34th.
Sounds good.
All right, coming away with the win, of course, here is the 84 of Bryson Barker. Finishing in second is going to be the 15 of Brian Bizzle. And third, the number 44 of Len McNeese. Fourth place will be the 99 of Justin Starr. And rounding out your top five is going to be the 14 of Jamir Muhammad. Sixth place will go to Jamal Poe. Seventh place, Matthew Ellis. 8th place, James Morgan. 9th place, Brian Dorsey. And 10th place goes to Dennis Ellis. 11th place will go to Dan Butler. 12th place, Alex Huffman. 13th place will go to Charles Hoffman. 14th, Austin Edstrom. And rounding out your top 15th here will be Jim Locking.
All right, in 16th place, we had the 48 of Jack Fellers. The 92 of Gary Weavers, who had an interesting race after we pulled him up into the booth and cursed him there, I guess, bringing it home 17th. Sorry about that, Gary. The 39 of Roger Muth, bringing it home 18. 96 Craig Covington in 19th place. And the 87 of John Van Varillis brings it home 20th. 21st, we had the 10 of Jason Covington. 22nd was the 13 of Tony Seal. The 45 of Patrick Pylon in 23rd. The 2 car of Jared Hagedorn in 24th. And the 101 car of David Gainforth brings it home 25th. In 26th place, we had the 47 of Trevor Graffam. 27th was the 33 of Brian Irby. The 72 of Ryan Wilson finished in 28th place. 27, Jonathan Ellis in 29th, and the 38 and Cody Brent Levitt finished out 30. In 31, we had the 42 of Armando Ortiz. 32, we had the 8 of Mikey Neal. In 33, we had the 31 of Tommy Gossett, and in 34, we had the 5 car of Brandon Dorsett.
They did, and that will do it for your unofficial race results. Again, that's barring any race control issues that they have to take care of. And on to all of the partners and sponsors that make all this possible, starting with MaxSpeedTV. Definitely make sure you check out all of these great partners, starting with Walls Beard Co. For all you guys out there that have a beard, if you need some organic and natural beard balm for that beard, check them out at wallsbeardco.com. For all you sim racers out there, check out simspeedshop.com. They have some great button boxes and some great e-brakes for you rallycross racers. So check them out to up your iRacing career to the next level. Elite 7 Racing, they are the official dirt team of MaxSpeedTV. They're always winning races, entering in some great races as well. So make sure you check them out at elite7racing.com. Ohio IndyCar League, they came on just not long ago, and now they have actually opened that league to more than just Ohio club members. So make sure you check them out on iRacing. Just look up Ohio IndyCar League. You can also look them up on Facebook at facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League for all their latest information. And coming on board just this past 15th of this month, that is iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphics source. If you're looking to get into broadcasting or just looking to get some overlays for streaming, check Jason Allison is his name. You can go to his website at ibog.co, contact him on iRacing, and you can get some graphics made from him. And on the racing side of things, of course, we want to give a big shout out to all their sponsors. iRacing Drivers World, probably one of the biggest iRacing Facebook pages out there, over 7,000 members. So if you have a question about iRacing or just want to know a little bit about it, whatever it happens to be, you can go on there, join that page, and ask away. Post your pictures, videos, whatever. It is a huge place to get any information about iRacing. Again, iRacing Drivers World. And, of course, the ones footing the bill for all of this, and that is Global Building Contractors. Make sure you check these guys out. Give them a big shout-out. They're the ones footing the bill for all of this. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here covering this great race here. So make sure you definitely check them out. Again, that's Global Building Contractors. You can check them out on Facebook or on their website. Again, that pretty much sums it up here for the race. Any final words, Jeff, before we sign off for the night?
Absolutely. I want a big shout out to the guys here at the Race Core League. They just put on an awesome show. These guys, They're all business when they practice. They go out there, they put the long runs together. These guys are out there trying to put on a great show, and it does show. They work hard at it. So big shout out to all the guys in this league. I know we probably don't get to all of you throughout the race. So hard to keep track of everybody and where they're at, but you always end up putting on a great show. And thanks for having me here again, Charles. As always, it was fun.
It definitely is a pleasure to have you here. On behalf of RaceCore Online Racing League, MaxSpeedTV, myself, Charles, and Jeff, we will see you at the next race, which is tomorrow night. We have a couple of races coming up. Of course, we have our normal stuff. We do have the SRA Gen 6 series, which Rudy Cummings will be covering. Myself will be doing the TND Super Sport series, which actually a special race will be the trucks at, I believe, Talladega or Daytona. They're voting on that, but it looks like Talladega will be the track. And then, of course, we are going to be having Jeff's series, the Northwest Xfinity series, coming 10:30 tomorrow night. So stay tuned for all of those great races. And as always, we will see you at the next race tomorrow night.